Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Kenyon. All right, guys, so I just want to jump on here, make a video clarifying why I shut down my warehouse, why I shut down the screen printing shop, all that stuff, because I'm clearly making YouTube videos again, and I kind of want to fill you guys in on all the details. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm going to try and go pretty in depth, so it might be a really long one, but I'll do my best to keep it nice and brief. But yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into it. All right, so many of you guys probably already know back in 2019, I had my own warehouse. I was running my screen printing shop and direct-to-garment business out of that place, and we got that warehouse. I want to say when we had about 90,000 subscribers. I don't know if I was at 100K yet, but the channel was growing really, really fast. In 2018, I set a huge list of goals to hit for 2019. A lot of those goals were financial. It was like, make $10,000 a month, purchase a really nice car that I can go off-roading in. That was like my big thing at that time. I just wanted to be adventurous, get out and do things. And then there was a ton more goals added onto that list. It was like read some specific books that people recommended me. Long story short, 2019 came around and everything just accelerated super fast. We were already in the warehouse for over a year. I already had everything set up to try to achieve these goals that I set. And I want to say midway through 2019, I hit all the goals that I wanted to hit for the year, at least for finance and like reading. We actually exceeded the goals because instead of doing 10,000 a month, we hit like 15,000 and 17,000. And then we got all the upgraded t-shirt printing equipment. So that's gonna lead me into this next part of the story, which is me checking off all my goals and then still realizing, oh, I'm missing something. Money and fame are not fulfilling. They're not everything you need in life to be happy and healthy or just live a super fulfilled life. So basically towards the end of 2019, I wanna say like August or October, somewhere around there, I came to the conclusion, you can't just have money to be happy. You need something else as well. What are those other things? And then the two other things that it came down to were religion. I got to figure out what religion is, what the Bible is, why do people believe in it? So in my head at the time, I was like, okay, I need to go revisit this and figure out why this is a thing. And then also I realized I'm not gonna have any fun with any money if I don't have authentic friends or just friends who like to do a lot of different things. Because at the time I had some friends, there was some like passive aggression in some of the relationships that I had. And there's a quote, I don't know who it's by, but it's like, there's nothing more tiring than hanging out with someone who really doesn't like you. Basically, they're just hanging out with you because you have cool stuff and you do cool things. And I learned that I had a lot of that in my relationships, and it's not something that I wanted to bring into my early 20s or just into my adult life in general. So with all that in mind, I started setting new goals for 2020. And this time, instead of them being financial goals, it was basically like, number one, look into religion, and then also make friends, make authentic friends who hopefully know nothing about my YouTube channel. That way, hopefully in the future, I'm not surrounded by a bunch of people who literally only hang out with me because I have a YouTube channel or a business that I'm running. And I'm not saying that everyone who hung out with me only hung out with me because of that, but there were definitely some relationships in my life that felt like that. Keep in mind, at this time, I was like not too far out of high school. Like most people meet their lifelong friends in college or working a job right out of college. At that time, I've only ever worked at Home Depot, and then also I went to college. I went to community college called Fullerton Community College, but no one talked. It was so disappointing. I was like, yo, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna meet tons of business people or like-minded people who are entrepreneurial and blah, blah, blah. And then I show up there and no one even has conversations. It was like, you get there, the teacher teaches, the bell rings, and everyone's gone. So I was basically still stuck in the same circles that I had in high school. Anyway, so towards the end of 2019, I already had in my mind to take a break for those two things. But honestly, I didn't know when I was gonna take that break. I also knew a lot of big influencers, and if you look at them, they usually hang out with people they met prior to them being YouTubers or having a lot of money. In my opinion, I just think that they know that those friendships were authentic as opposed to people that they've met after acquiring all this success. So definitely took note of that pattern, and I didn't want to run into the issues that I saw happening to other YouTubers. And then on top of that, I saw a lot of very successful businessmen who like had tons of money, but they didn't have any morals. And I'm like, I'm not willing to do what you're willing to do in order to acquire money. That's not my thing. Don't want to be affiliated with it. So yeah, I kind of just came to the conclusion, if I'm gonna have a happy life, I'm gonna need to figure out religion for one. I'm gonna need authentic friendships with people who don't just kind of cling on to me because I have a YouTube channel, and then also good business people with good morals. I also got screwed over on a business deal in 2019, so that was kind of like, come on, like you guys have a lot of money. Why do you guys just feel the need to screw someone over? Anyway, moving on to the next thing. In December of 2019, when I already had my list of goals for 2020, I always like to start on them really early. That way we could get a jump start into the new year. Early December, I started Googling about Christianity and just religion in general. I noticed a pattern in a couple articles that was like fasting and praying. You need to do that. So I started doing those two things, and for the fast, actually it was just like, let me try the hardest fast I could possibly do. Literally took out everything that I enjoyed eating. All meat was gone, all dairy was gone, all sugar And sugar was a really, really hard one for me because if you guys already know, my first few videos were on like selling candy and all that. So I really, really like sugar. And I also started praying for like the first time in my life authentically. Anyway, moving down the line towards late December, I started dropping weight really, really fast. Because of the fast that I was doing, I was not eating as much calories as I was before. Obviously, meat has tons more calories than what I was eating, which was basically just grains. That fast lasted for weeks. So if you go to my Instagram, you'll notice that the pictures that are from like 2018, I look a lot bigger than the pictures that are from 2019 and 2020. And that was also the fast that made me from going from atheist to Christian. And that's when my whole like Christian journey started. I actually started going back to church this time like by myself. I wasn't like dragged there by my parents or anything. That was like the last week of December 2019. It was like 3 weeks before COVID existed. I actually later on got baptized, and during this fast I actually came up with a business plan for T-Shirt Tube. And I was like super excited to just go ahead and jump on it. I started calling all my business contacts. Hey, I have an idea for you. If you guys remember, I flew down to Portland, Oregon to go pitch a business plan to a guy who owns a huge digital printing facility. He actually got me in contact with the guy who helped him start his business, and everything was going great. This is kind of random, but I was reading 2 books. One was called Deep Work by Cal Newport, and the other one was called The Talent Code. It talks about how to maximize your brain function by like focusing on one specific thing for hours and hours and hours at hand, and how people in Brazil are good at soccer because they play futsal, and futsal is like a harder version of soccer, so they have to repeat the exact same movements for soccer at a much faster rate than soccer players. And that only relates because I was like, okay, cool, let's take that concept and apply it to content creation. So I was brainstorming ways to just like turn on the camera, start talking, and like get reps of creating videos, which in turn also lowered the quality of my videos, but it's a risk that I was willing to take because if I can get this down, it'll be a lot easier to make videos in the future. And then COVID hits and everything just started falling apart really fast. It's like all the lockdowns were coming into place. I live in Los Angeles County, and we had one of the craziest counties in the nation when COVID hit. There were riots that started happening, food shortages, and keep in mind, this is all adding even more stress on my friendships, which were already stressed prior to COVID even happening. Right after the first wave of all the lockdowns and all the other chaos that was happening during COVID, we actually made a demo website. And I'm not gonna lie with you guys, the demo website, it was really bad. The software we were using for the original site, it did not do the job. Like it wasn't giving us a quality print file. And right about, I wanna say midway through 2020, we were just like, let's go ahead and call it. Like, this is it. There's too much going on right now in the world. There's some things that we don't agree on. The technology for the website kind of sucks. It's not good enough to actually create a viable product that people are gonna be happy with. Maybe we can get back to this in the future, but it's obviously just not the time to do it right now. So we agreed to just kind of part ways. One of the guys that I was working with actually sold his company and moved out to Brazil. This was probably like 7 or 8 months afterwards. And then the other guy that I was partnered with just got offered a CEO position for a company that was gonna pay him a whole lot of money. And it was kind of a no-brainer to go ahead and take that job as opposed to just keep on working with this project. So with all that happening, it created a fork in the road. It was like, I can either continue to build this business, still pump out YouTube videos on this topic, blah, 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 keep doing the exact same thing. But I thought about it and I was like, I'm just gonna run into the same issues that I've been having like on a personal level. So the other side of that fork in the road was to take the break that I already planned on doing in 2019 to go read and figure out the Bible and then also meet new people. And as you guys probably already know, I took that route. I started like serving at a church that's close to my house. It's called Grace EV Free. They have a food bank every single Friday. It was just another thing I could be doing to meet people and to develop friendships. And then also I joined a couple different Bible studies. At this time, I also stopped making videos completely. My YouTube revenue just declined. I ended up taking down all my videos because I didn't want anyone who I was meeting at the time to know who I was, because I don't want them to have that, oh, he's a YouTuber. Like I need to get this guy's phone number. I need to stay in contact with him. Like I didn't want to amplify the issues that I was already having prior to this time frame. All right, so there's also a Bible verse that's, I don't know the exact verse within the Bible, but it's something like, seek first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things will be added into your life. If you research it and figure out the context of it, it's basically saying like, don't worry about anything. As long as you're seeking God, God's gonna take care of all your needs. So I was just like, okay, I'm Christian now. I'm not gonna worry about anything. I'm gonna take that verse for what it means and just run with it. Gotta swap out the battery. So taking down my channel actually purified all my friend circles. Everybody who was with me because I had all this stuff just left. They basically were just like, oh, well, you don't have any of this anymore, so peace. They stopped calling me, they stopped associating with me, and that's crazy to think about too, because there's kind of like a double standard there. Oh, if you're not a YouTuber, I'm not hanging out with you. Even though the majority of them weren't YouTubers or even like into business or anything like that, taking down my videos basically exposed everyone's motive for why they're hanging out with me, and like made people come to the realization like, oh, I don't really like this guy if he's got these or without these videos, or the warehouse, or the views, or the sponsorships, or whatever else they wanted. It was gone. It forced people to make a decision. And I do have a few really close friends who like didn't really care that the videos were gone. They would check in like, yo, you good? I don't know what you're doing right now, but you need anything, let me know. So it's like, oh, okay, I genuinely know who my real friends are. Right there. How people treat you without anything is exactly how you want them to treat you when you have all this stuff. Because if it takes people a lot of money or fame or material possessions in order to actually hang out with you or to just like treat you well in general, then if you lose all that stuff one day, they're all just gonna leave. Another thing is a lot of the business people that I knew who I thought were my friends were really only hanging out with me because I had a business that had the potential to grow into something really big in the future. And of course, once I closed down the business, they stopped talking to me completely. And that just kind of let me know like, hey, they're business contacts. They're not my friends. Like, I'm not gonna go ahead and invite them to Thanksgiving or to like a birthday party or anything. And the cool thing about that is I really don't lose anything out of those contacts because all I had to do is build the business back to where it was, which shouldn't be impossible. Yeah, it'll take some time. As soon as it's back up and running, I already know their motive is to make money. So like, I literally didn't lose anything because they're still gonna pick up the phone as long as there's money involved. It literally just created peace of mind. You guys have no idea. Like, not having to question people's motives behind trying to hang out with you and work with you gives you such peace of mind. And peace of mind is worth so much more than what I was actually making. And the fact that I can just spend the time doing what I love to go ahead and build it back up to where it was, except this time with people that I actually want to do it with. All right, so this idea kind of backfired on me because like I said, late December, I started going back to church, and at church, it was kind of just like, who's this guy who doesn't have an income, or at least like a 9-to-5, who just deleted his YouTube videos, and who doesn't know anything about the Bible because I haven't read the Bible at that time. Didn't grow up in this church. Pretty much no one has ever seen my YouTube videos, and that didn't help either because assumptions are, oh, you made bad content more than likely, and you just needed to get rid of it, something like that. Even though that's obviously not the case. And the fact that I was a not scary farm monster and literally got paid to scare the crap out of people dressed as an evil clown who's obsessed with business ideas, and I guess that automatically makes you obsessed with money, which it is a sin to love money in the Bible, but you have to really discern like, what is loving money? What does that look like? And then on top of that, closing down the business to become a custodian. And if there's anything I've learned, that concept just does not click with people. People didn't understand my story. I don't know if it's they didn't understand it or they didn't believe it. So within the church that I'm going to, I'm like the red flag. Keep him on your watch list. We don't know about him. Like, we think he's demon possessed. I'm kind of like the outcast, even though I do have some really good friends. Conversations slowly died, but the preaching is really good at that church. Oh yeah, and I totally like skipped over the whole warehouse thing. When I moved into my warehouse, I signed a 1-year lease for the warehouse, and then obviously towards the end of that lease, they ask you like, oh, do you want to sign for another year? I went ahead and signed for the 2nd year. Once again, the time came around where it was like, do you want to sign for the 3rd year? And that was right when COVID was happening. It was like dead smack in the middle. And also that was right when I had to decide like, oh, do I keep doing this or do I go ahead and focus on my personal life more or less? And I was literally just like, no, I'm not going to sign a 3rd year. And I'm actually really glad that I didn't sign for a 3rd year because the businesses that are still in that exact same building that I was in have been burglarized like crazy. If you go there now, there's bars on all the windows. I talked to some of my old neighbors in that building and they were like, yeah, I had to change the glass on my door like 3 or 4 times within the last year or so. So I'm actually really happy and satisfied that I went with the route that I did as opposed to keeping the business up and running. I know a lot of people watching this are like, you made the wrong decision, but like in here, I made the right decision. I'm so much happier. I feel like I'm just so much more prepared for the future. Yes, I lost a ton of money. The people who I was making videos with at that time are making way more. They're making like $45,000 a month, $50,000 a month, and I'm sure I would have been there, but now it's kind of just my time to build back up to where I was. I know a lot of you guys are probably like, what did you do for an income after you took down your YouTube channel? Just like landscaping, general housework, pretty much everything to do with cars. If you guys haven't seen my other videos on the used car dealership, like the reason I got into that industry was because I knew how to fix cars to a degree. I don't know how to like do a full engine swap, but pretty much everything else I can manage. So I literally just went back to what I knew how to do, which was take on side jobs. I also just know a lot of people who own companies, so if they ever needed an extra person, I usually offered to do it. And believe it or not, for most of those jobs, I'm just like, I'll do it for free because you have to remember that in this time frame, my mindset was meet people and don't tell them that you were a YouTuber. And just so you guys know, the conversation changes so much when people know that you're a YouTuber, as opposed to them thinking, oh, you're just a sound guy working under this company, or you're just a laborer for a landscaping company. A completely different dynamic. I'm able to ask them questions and get authentic answers, as opposed to if they knew I was a YouTuber, their answers would change completely. And then also in this time frame, I picked up a job as a custodian at a college that's in my hometown. It's called Biola University. Believe it or not, I actually became a custodian there. And I just want to say, taking that custodian position is not something I could have ever done prior to reading the Bible or becoming Christian. Like, that's just not something I would ever do. I was like super prideful, like no one's gonna look down on me. I need my respect from everyone. And now I'm just like, I don't really care. It's like, see me how you want. It's not gonna hurt me. If you guys remember earlier in this video when I was talking about I went to college and tried to make contacts and it just did not work out. Doing this job, I was actually able to add over 1,000 people to my contact list. And keep in mind, this is like 3 years after my YouTube videos died down. So like 99% of people didn't know who I was. I was actually in that position for 5 months, which is the longest traditional job that I've ever had in my life. The one before that was Home Depot, and that was right out of high school when I was there for 3 months, and then I started the car dealership. So within that position, of course, my job was to clean things. So it's like I was cleaning the library, dorms, restrooms, and as people would walk by me, I just asked them like, hey, what are you studying? Why are you studying that? What do you plan on doing with that in the future? And then I'd usually add people on my personal Instagram. Biola is also really known for their film program. So I ended up meeting like tons of future directors, tons of future actors, tons of future doctors. And if there's anything that I've learned about business in the past, that it's really about who you know, not how much money you have. Anyway, after that job, I actually thought of a new business plan. And that was actually not too long ago. And that's when I was like, I need a real estate license. That's when I started my online real estate school. And then I also was building the website for T-Shirt Tube. And yeah, that pretty much sums up why I'm posting videos now. All right, so I learned the people who don't need anything from you in order to be friends with you are gonna make for the best possible friends, because anything extra that you have is just gonna be a bonus. It's just gonna make everything more fun. It's not just gonna be the requirement to put up with you. I kind of think that this was one of Jesus's points in coming down as a poor man, but yeah, I'm gonna leave that point right there. That's all I got for this video. Not sure what the next video is gonna be on, but my name's Kenyon, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.